Coming up in this episode.
Parker went from being a garden gnome to looks like he wants to sell me office supplies.
Yeah, let's instead just talk shit about all the other podcasts.
Don't hate
what
this.
the fuck is with Dave? He's so happy and optimistic all the time. Fuck him.
Is Chris even on this show anymore? Hey, though, guys, if you need me to fill in for Steve, I'll do it. Ready? I'm a drunk.
And why can't Matt figure out his electronics? What's up with that?
Isn't he in tech?
He doesn't
No, it doesn't matter. He's in sound systems.
He's in tech. Fuck him. Yeah. Reed, this is the worst podcast ever.
This is the worst podcast we've ever. It's the worst podcast we've ever done. This podcast was fucked if we never found Travis. I mean, we were doomed. Just
Travis
doomed.
is the anchor of this group.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't know if you realize this.
Namaste.
The best Batman quote is, "With great power comes great responsibility."
That's Spider-Man, you moron.
Spider-Man.
Matt apparently hated it so much he left.
Apparently.
Yeah, Matt's like, I'm out.
This is my Stone Temple Pilots argument, right? Because they brought in Chester Bennington to be the lead after Scott Weiland died.
Actually, they brought in Chester Bennington.
I just said that. I just rewind.
He just said that.
Seconds. I literally said that.
You see, now you've realized that I tune out most of what you say, just waiting for my turn to talk.
Welcome to Rock Fan Radio. Built by fans for the fans. From the roar on the stage to the chaos on the floor, we live and breathe it. This is where the music gets loud, the stories get real, and the fans take over. Join us as we talk everything rock and roll. Plug into rockfanradio.com for the latest episodes, exclusives, and everything happening in the rock fan world. And check out our newsfeed to stay up to date with everything rock. Join the growing rock fan community and be one of the founding members as you join us on the mission as we hunt for 1,000. Turn it up. Get your horns up. Let's rock. Here's your host, Jason.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 17 of Rock Fan Radio. Tonight in the room, we got a smaller group, but it's a good group. We got Matt, we have Parker, we have Reed, Travis, and of course myself, Jason. We're going to get into some fun stuff today. But before we do that, let's talk about the hunt and where we're at. As you guys know, we have been searching for our first 1,000 YouTube subscribers. And it makes us sound a little small, but it's because we are small. We are still growing. Yet we are trying to build this base so we can bring more to you guys. We have a lot of ideas around ways we can bring you into the cast. We can associate with you on the cast, bring ideas, bring more in the pit episodes. But before we do that, we need to gain critical mass. And so we're working on that. So if you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and tell 10 of your friends to go hit that subscribe button so we get this thing going.
Jason, can I announce something regarding YouTube real quick?
No.
So this is important. Since we're growing on YouTube, I wanted to announce something very special. You see, I was listening to my kids watch YouTubers, and something dawned on me. All successful YouTubers talk in the same cadence. They all sound exactly the same. So I thought, why not us? If this cadence is how they got millions of subscribers, then surely it'll work for us. So moving forward, I'm going to talk in a YouTube voice. Because that will get us a million subscribers.
You're done.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Sorry.
What the hell was that?
They do all sound the same, though.
That's worse than me shaving my beard, dude.
Yeah,
breaking news.
Yeah, we got
Nah.
Baby Parker. We got Baby Parker
Shea.
on the cast now, too.
I don't even recognize you. Your name's not
It's
Rick.
still there. It's still there. My name's not Rick.
My name's not
I don't even think my name is Parker right now, to be honest with you. I should change my name. What should my name be?
Rick.
Well, we have Fuckface for AJ.
Rick.
Well, we should call you Baby Parker. Little Baby Parker. Oh, you're so cute.
Little baby Parker.
I like Ted. Ted would be good.
Just
Ted?
Ted. All right.
All right.
Are all you guys smoked out too? Because most of us are in Chicago. I was supposed to go see the Black Keys tonight, but the baseball games in the area got shut down because the air is so bad from our Canadian friends and their wildfires that are going on. I was supposed to be
Wait,
outside seeing-
whoa.
What?
Canadian friends.
Of course they're our friends.
Nope,
It's
Not right
Canada,
now.
man.
Canadian friends.
absolutely not.
All I can think about is South Park where their heads are two
Hey,
pieces.
yes, exactly right. Yes.
Hey,
What say you, Mr. American Ambassador?
Fuck Canada!
Fuck you!
There
Do we
may or
know
may not-
geographically where our subscribers are? Maybe they are in Canada. We don't know. So welcome to wherever you may be watching.
I know we got
Also,
a couple
if
in
you
Germany.
are from Canada, can you go control the fires? Like, what's going on? Let's take care of this. Let's get rid of it. You did this to us a number of years ago. You're doing it to us again. Come on.
This is why
the
we shouldn't
worst
have
air
trees.
quality. This is the worst air quality the Chicagoland area has ever had on record. So we are getting pummeled here. If you go into the city, I saw some pictures. You can't even see the buildings. It is so smoggy around here. So glad I'm inside and we're doing this, even though I'm kind of bummed I'm missing Black Keys tonight. And I got an invite to go see Rush tonight, but I was too late to take advantage of that too. So what a waste. I guess I'm podcasting with you guys. Let's get to it. What's the song of the week?
This week's song, SMA. Artist, Chevelle. Rock Fan Radio's Song of the Week.
Of course it is.
Right. The song of the week is brought to you by Taylor Swift.
Stop it. Get some help.
I'm just kidding. The song of the week this week is going to be SMA off of Chevelle's first record, Point Number 1. All right, so let me set the landscape of music in the late 90s, okay? Music dominated by the rise of boy band, commercial pop groups, NSYNC, Britney Spears, all of which I love so much.
That's gross. That's a gross way to live.
Post-grunge just coming into the scenes, bands like Creed, Days of the New, release of some absolute supernova debut albums like Evanescence, System of a Down. Finding new artists in this day was not easy, right? There was the dawn of the internet, but we weren't quite able to steal music like we could today. Obviously, Evanescence, Creed, System, widely available at our local record stores, but there was a small band born out of Grays Lake, Illinois, not too far from Parker and Jason, right down the road. They released their debut album on a super small Christian label, Squint Entertainment, which would eventually go bankrupt, that would break commercial sounds that was the staple of rock in the late 90s. Point Number 1 is the most raw rock album of its time. It sounded like they recorded it in their basement. Chevelle writes lyrics that literally just would never work in most mainstream rock music. And it's
They
backed
don't
by
rhyme.
No, they don't rhyme at
rhyme.
all. And most of the
Chevelle
time they don't even make
their
sense.
lyrics, which is crazy.
It's awesome. And it's
It is
backed
awesome.
by insane guitar riffs, driving bass lines, but they also offer some of the most melodic songs in rock music. And SMA was the track on that album that I think was really like the pointing point of the beginning of the Chevelle sound, right? With driving lyrics that no one in their right mind would try to sing. The guitar riff that Pete eventually would just kind of hold for that extra half second when he plays live music. If you guys have ever seen Chevelle live, they're
Nope.
incredible. But Pete loves to just hang on to a note for just a little bit longer than you think he should, and then just slay it after that. And then they close this album with a song called Peer, which is a kind of a melodic foreshadowing of what's to come over their next 7 albums. But Chevelle would go on to produce 8 albums, sell well over 4 million records just in the States alone. And here's something that's kind of interesting. They eventually signed with Epic Records, who produced, I think, 8 of their albums. And Pete Loeffler, the lead singer of Chevelle, has come out to say that they never made a dime on a single album sale. Epic made $50 million off of the Chevelle catalog, and the Loeffler brothers made nothing, which is kind of telling of how the music industry works for you. But SMA, Point Number 1, Chevelle's debut album. It's raw, it's dirty, it's nasty, and it is just awesome.
Reed, first time I heard that album, I lived across the hall from you in a fraternity house, right? And I remember listening to that going, this is not Christian rock, because they were not a Christian rock band, but they were very much on a Christian rock label. And I remember my first impression of Chevelle hearing that stuff, because I heard Point Number 1, first Chevelle song I ever heard before they signed to a major. I called them a mini, more poppy Tool.
Yeah.
Because that's what that album sounds like.
They have been very closely linked to the sounds of Tool. Helmet is another one that they always kind of get lumped in with.
Hell yeah.
And Mia and Point Number 1 were their 2 kind of releases off of that album, both of which won awards of some sort back in the day. But it's just their evolution from where they came from Point Number 1 all the way through all their albums. And they've been criticized by the critics, right? That Chevelle's sounds all kind of the same. I think that's a bunch of malarkey. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work because
Not quite malarkey.
They're a little AC/DC.
They're a little bit of an AC/DC
A
band.
little
thing-
bit. They
That
got a little
doesn't
bit
mean they're
going.
bad. That doesn't mean AC/DC band doesn't mean they're bad. We established this a while
we have
ago.
established
It
that.
just
But
means that they get in their lane, they stick to it, and they know what's good. And that's
And
not
it's
bad.
really freaking good.
Yeah, Pete actually came out when they released and I never pronounced this album right. Is it Narada's, Taco Bell? I don't know. He said that they were going to kind of break that they were going to kind of break their mold when they released that album. And Pete even said if the fans didn't like it, he was going to shelve Chevelle for a while.
He did. Yeah, but the album was awesome. Do you know what Naradius stands for, actually?
No.
Really? It stands for Nothing is Real, and This is a Simulation.
Simulation, that's right. Great job.
Pretty cool.
I learned something today.
I also
Chevelle's probably still my favorite band of all time. Spirit Box is slowly creeping up to contend with that. Right, Matt? Can I hear it? Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
But Chevelle, if I'm like, I don't know what I want to listen to today. It's Chevelle on shuffle, and I just let it roam.
So, Reed, if I can ask, obviously Chevelle's from Chicago. Are you a big fan because they're local boys that made it big, and you kind of followed them early, or you just happen to like them?
No, when they released Point Number One, I was actually in high school, and I mean, back then I was just, well, I still do this to this day. Like everything that was coming out, I was just trying to listen to. And I think it was Point Number One that was played on Q101 back in the day. Like one of those late at night, I forget what the segment was, with Grant Random probably, where Point Number One was played. And I'm like, this is not like anything else that's, it's not Creed and it's not Days of the New. So I went out and bought that. I think it was a cassette at the time, and just got hooked on them. And honestly, every release that they've had since then has just been in heavy rotation.
The last album was sick. It was one of their best they've had in a while, too.
Yeah, they're getting better. I mean, it's kind of like the conversation we had about Lamb of God, right? You release 10 albums and they just keep getting better and better. That just takes genius to me. And to be able to write those lyrics and be able to sing them in some sort of fashion. They're also one of those bands where we will just make up lyrics, because we have no idea what Pete's actually singing about. Frog and Closure being my favorite.
They're also an anti-backing track band. Like they've come out and the drummer has slammed on people who use backing tracks. And then I've heard some reviews, Chevelle, they sound raw. They don't sound like the record. It's because they are a three-piece playing their instruments on stage. And I think they throw down.
And Pete actually engineers his own guitars, which is kind of cool. The other thing, too, is he has come out and said, because we've all been kind of poking at him in social media that they need to do a Point Number One release because it's been 30 years or whatever, right? He's actually come out and said that he wants to play some of those original songs, but he can't do it at his age while also playing guitar. So he's been kind of toying around bringing in a second guitar player out on stage in order to try to play Mia or Point Number One live again.
That'd be rad.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, Pete, let's go. Come on the podcast first.
Pete, Sam, and whoever the current bass player is, you're welcome anytime.
He's the brother-in-law.
You run in the same circles geographically as the Chevelle guys. And I know you kind of run into them. I won't say more than that, but I know
may or may not have a story. My son goes to school, I don't know, maybe a weekend, comes home, says, oh, I met this kid named Archer. He his family lives part-time in Australia. Okay, that's pretty cool. He goes, yeah, his dad's in a rock band right now and he's touring.
Didn't he say just like you, Dad? Didn't he say just like you, Dad?
Yeah, he did say just like me, but I'm
not quite.
Hell yeah.
Not quite. But maybe soon, who knows? We'll see. But yeah, so he's telling me about this kid. His name is Archer, and he's like trying to figure out how to pronounce his name, and it's not working out, right? And all of a sudden we look it up and figure it out. His last name's Loeffler, Archer Loeffler.
That's awesome.
Guess what? He's I don't remember now. I can't remember which one.
I remember when you told me it's Sam, the drummer.
It's Sam. Okay, yeah, it's Sam. Sam's kid and my kid run in the same circle at Gray's Lake. And Jason, I told Jason, and Jason instantly like, you gotta warm this up. You gotta figure out how to get them on a play date and eventually invite me over so that I can have dinner with Chevelle with you and your kid.
Dude, I would love to meet the Loefflers. Like they're one of those bands that I would spend an hour drinking a beer and just asking rando questions on. Like their path is not like a typical rock band. Like they should have been done once their first label went out of business. It just the path that they took, and then questions about Epic and their major label basically making 50 mil off of them. They're just cool guys, and I would just love to shoot the shit with them.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
they were the original lineup was three brothers, and a lot of their early songs are about being brothers and about family. My favorite Chevelle song is Family System, which is all about family. And
although it's still never really been confirmed whether or not who was the youngest, the bass player who was gigging out at 14 was Chevelle, but he was rumored to have been fired out of Chevelle is what he said. So there may or may not have been something going on there when
I think
he
they
left.
then brought in the brother-in-law as their next bass player, and
he's
now
still
they're
gigging
on to
with
a
him.
whole nother bass player, so I've lost track.
I thought the brother-in-law was still playing.
I don't think so. I don't think he's
No?
part of it anymore.
Well, there you have it. SMA. Check him out.
Smell that? Smells like Backstage Buzz.
It sure does.
It's time for new noise and backstage buzz.
All right, I got one for Backstage
Actually,
Buzz.
it smells like Canadian wildfires, let's be real.
It does.
Yeah. It looks like Canadian wildfires. It smells like Canadian wildfires.
The
Not
meme
here
in the
in
chat was,
Indiana,
I
thank
smoked
God.
3 packs of Canadian Wildfire today, because that's what it feels like. My throat actually hurts from the smoke.
Not from the Canadian
Backstage-
wildfires. So. No.
Did you guys hear the new Queen song? Travis, you said you didn't like it. Why not?
I was not a fan. Okay, now full transparency, I'm not a huge Queens fan. I never have been. I do think Songs for the Deaf is one of the greatest fucking albums of the early 2000s. It is a masterpiece from beginning to end. But I wasn't big on Rated R. I didn't really like Caius Holmes' first project. I wasn't big on Them Crooked Vultures. Like, I just don't really like his style. This song, Easy Street, it's definitely different than a lot of Queen stuff. It doesn't have... Honestly, I wouldn't have known it was Queen's had I not seen the video. I would have been like, it's just a boring song. I just didn't really think there was a lot going on, and I don't know. I just wasn't impressed.
Reed, you don't have to raise your hand, but I appreciate that.
I'm today years old. Caius and Queens are the same guy?
Jesus Christ, Reed, yes.
Caius was the first band.
Josh Homme comes from Caius. The whole desert rock scene is where they come from.
Dude, Caius slays. I love Caius.
Yeah.
For those of us...
Okay, is it Home? Is it Homme? I've heard, like, how do you actually pronounce it?
I'm pretty sure it's Homme. I think, because I used to say Home, and then I got corrected to Homme at one.
For those of
Fair
us
enough.
that may be in a different generation or not heard of this band, Queens is Queens of the Stone Age.
Thank you, Parker. Yes.
You're welcome.
I thought the new song was pretty cool. It's very Queens of the Stone Age, so if you don't like them, you're not going to like the song. But they just got off their Catacombs tour, which is when they did more of a stripped-down acoustic thing, and then they reimagined some of their songs live. They didn't record it, but they actually, I think there is a live album coming out, or is out. But they did kind of different versions on acoustic and stripped them back, and this is a song they started playing during that tour, so when you listen to it, it is very stripped back, very acoustic-y, very Josh Homme showing off his vocals. I like what Chris says. Chris calls him a crooner. He's absolutely a crooner. That's a perfect, like, how he sings. This song is cool, though, because no click track, no backing track when they recorded it. They put it down totally raw. Reminds me of my days in the basement as a kid working on my 4-track when you didn't do things to metronomes and backing tracks. It's just get it on tape and hope it sounds good. So Homme actually came out and he's like, listen, you can hear the hand claps in the background being off beat. You can hear me screwing with the tempo because I'm trying to settle in that groove because there's no click in my ear setting it for me. And he goes, man, that's rock and roll. And you know what? I think that's really cool. Personal story, I just learned a new song for my band, a Rolling Stones song. And the song Honky Tonk Women, you know this song. I was listening to this, practicing to it. And it is, my band calls it real music, meaning you don't need the backing tracks. There's things that are wrong in there. You can hear the human element to it. But this Rolling Stone song, I'm pretty sure started at 110 beats per minute and ends in like 125 beats per minute, which if you know your music, that's a pretty big speed up during the song. This is something the old bands used to do a lot. They used to deal with no backing tracks. They would just have to set the tempo. Dave Grohl in the studio with Butch Vig, I remember reading interviews where Butch Vig would bitch about Dave Grohl not being able to stay in time, and they got it close enough and said, fuck it, that's rock and roll. I love it, and this is Josh going back to form, so 2 thumbs up. I think it's a cool song. Of course, I hope the whole album doesn't sound like this, because that would be boring, But for a one-track single, I'm in.
There is something to be said about these older bands that have a groove versus some of these other bands that are far more technical now, because all they do is go in a DAW and they set the metronome. And a lot of times what you're doing is you're recording riff by riff, or even sometimes section by section of a certain riff.
Or
right?
half tempo, some of these guys even record. Like, I can't play it that fast. We'll make it half time so I can play it perfectly and then double the speed on the recording. That starts flirting with cheating for me.
Look, if you can play it live, if you can get away with making it sound like it does live, fine. I mean, as long as you can make it live without cheating live, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. I with Pillars, right? We like it to be perfectly on time, and so, you know, we're doing hundreds of takes of stuff if we have to. But
so you're cheaters.
Well, we're not. Okay, sure, whatever. I wouldn't say we're cheating, but you know, we can play it live. So, but what you get with that is sometimes you get over technical or a lot more technically savvy riffs that then start to sound less musical on stage. You're not watching these guys necessarily jam or groove or play music sometimes. Sometimes it gets to the point where it's like, now I'm going to just watch technical ability of playing an instrument. So all I'm saying is there's different methods of doing it. And with technologies these days, it's much easier to get it perfectly on beat.
I can't even take you seriously without the beard.
I know.
I hear you talking, but I'm like, it doesn't even sound like Parker. I don't even know what's real anymore.
No, I honestly almost cut out a cardboard beard and put that on. I almost did it. Almost.
That would have been good. That would have been funny.
That would have been better. I'm also running on 2 hours of sleep, everybody, so I'm not really sure if I'm going to repeat myself or say crazy shit, so just be warned.
One more Backstage Buzz thing. Have you guys heard the new Green Day song? I know there's some Green Day hate in the room. I know not all of you love Green Day. I love Green Day. I think they're a great band. They have a movie coming out next month. Did you know this? They have a movie called Nimrod's coming out, and it's all about it's a personification of them as a young band and how they felt before they released Dookie, being in a van and just trying to make left from right. And so there's a comedy movie coming out about a band who is Green Day but not Green Day, who mistakenly got told that they are going to be opening for Green Day on New Year's Eve. So I guess they're trying to get to the show even though they're not playing it, but they think they're playing it. And it's Green Day basically rehashing stories from when they were younger, which is going to be fun. Green Day has a total cameo in it. You've got like Angela and Pam Beasley from The Office are going to be in the movie. Some bigger names. It'll be fun. But anyways, Green Day has a couple songs on the album, I think, and they just released the first new song. Heard it on the radio today. I thought it was pretty cool. The name of the song is something R.I.P. I can't come up with it.
I'm never going to R.I.P.
And, you know, it's okay. It's a Green Day song. Green Day's got a billion songs. It's basically a 12-bar blues song, and they play the blues to a punk rock drum beats and sing for about 2.5 minutes. But I thought it was cool, and I enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the Green Day movie.
Interesting. They have a billion songs and use the same 3 power chords in all of them. Interesting.
That's true.
It has a very rockabilly feel to it. Someone said it was kind of like rock around the clock, very Elvis oriented, and it's okay. You know, I'm a big Green Day fan. I've seen them several times live. They're one of my favorite live acts. This was just okay. I mean, nothing to write home about.
You ever listen to the Foxborough Hot Tubs, Travis?
I have not.
Or any of you. The Foxborough Hot Tubs was one of Billy Joe's side projects. And he brings in, I mean, you're talking about it's an Elvis feel. He brings back like an oldies 1940, 1950 feel to punk rock. And it's a side project, and it's actually a ton of fun. Go check out the Foxborough Hot Tubs. But it's probably like 10, 15 years old now.
You know, I know that that's relevant for rock, but because I'm the editor, that's going to be random thoughted.
Why?
Because I hate Billy Joe. But let's move on.
I don't like beardless Parker. He's an asshole.
Right. Beardless Parker's mean.
He's such a dick.
You know what it is? It's not the beardless.
It's
well,
the
maybe
2
that's
hours
part
of
of it.
sleep.
But it's the 2 hours of sleep flying from Seattle. Oh my God, guys. The hotel that I had to check into last night, there was a line out the door at this Holiday Inn Express because all of these people are coming for the soccer game that is happening today now, maybe potentially at this very moment. And they had one guy working, and it took me, I think, just under an hour to check into a hotel. Yeah. Yep. Anyway,
You were so mad at check. That's not the random thought of the day.
Yeah, there was
will
no
be.
random thought.
Oh, it will be. But I'm getting angry, so you want to get heavy?
Let's get heavy.
Let's get heavy.
Let's get heavy.
That was a good segue.
Ooh, I get to
Jason,
start Let's Get Heavy today.
You
I get
have to start it.
So screw you, Parker. It's my show. I want to talk about William Shatner.
Will Shat.
Willie Shatner is releasing a metal album, and he is 95 years old. 95, 92, it doesn't matter. He's old as fucking dirt. 95, and he just announced he's going to be playing Riot Fest. He's releasing a metal album. It's got big names all over it. He's playing Judas Priest songs on it. He's playing Black Sabbath songs on it. He's playing Iron Maiden songs on it. He got Rob Halford to come and sing on the album. He got Mickey D from Motorhead to come and sing on Living After Midnight. And then there's rumors of Zakk Wylde, Richie Blackmore, Henry Rollins, Chris Adler, Dave Lombardo, all these huge names that are going to be on this album. And they just announced yesterday that Shatner's going to be there for Sunday at Riot Fest. And I mean, if Riot Fest wasn't cool enough already, now we got fucking Captain Kirk. Looking forward to that. Riot Fest is kind of known for bringing these weird acts in. I saw Corey Feldman there a couple of years ago. ICP, Insane Clown Posse, is there again this year. I saw the Great Balls of Fire guy there. I think they had the Village People one year. So they're known for bringing these weird acts. And so now we got Shatner. And I mean, come on, that's fucking metal as hell. William Shatner, Captain Kirk at Riot Fest. I'll be there. That's all the heavy news I have.
I mean,
Did you say the Great Balls of Fire guy? You couldn't have just gone Jerry Lee Lewis? I mean, is that not a big enough name that you couldn't find?
I did not know his name, so I named his song.
I said it earlier before we started recording, but, Jason was doing his tune-out thing, so.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What'd you say, Travis?
You are 0 for 2, sir.
Jason's just proving his point constantly.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
With you not supposed to be here and Parker on 2 hours of sleep, we could have had a great podcast with just Matt, Travis, and me. Would have been amazing.
Well, then who would have hit record? That's our problem.
We would have figured it out.
I don't know, man.
Parker, what else do we got?
all right, so I'm going to try something new here. I have these quick cuts, and I'm just going to read through my notes, and these are my opinions and thoughts and kind of just general whatever on these real quick singles that have come out. I'm not going to I'm just gonna try and read through them. I'm calling it the fastest 7 strings because we're heavy. I don't even know if that makes sense really yet for a title, but the fastest 7 strings.
No,
we'll see. We'll figure out. I'll work on the
Just
title.
awful.
We'll work it out. But I'm just gonna read my opinions. You guys are probably gonna get pissed off here and there, but I'm not gonna let you interject until the end. So
challenge accepted.
Fair enough.
That's the.
Do we even need to be here?
What's that?
Do we even need to be here?
No, this is like, the football guy who does the fastest 3 minutes or whatever.
Chris Berman,
So-
what is
look,
wrong with you guys today?
Anyone watching the podcast, this is probably when you want to fast forward a little bit.
All right, well, let's get going. It's probably going to be jagged and messed up in the beginning trying to get used to this, but let's start with this stuff. So fastest 7 strings. That's a stupid name, but we'll figure it out.
Pretty bad.
It is pretty
Why
bad.
would you play a 7-string when you could play an 8-string?
Okay, fastest 9 strings. I don't care.
Let's not get carried away.
All right, let's start with Sing Queen. Sing Queen released a song with Left to Suffer, and unfortunately, we were all left to suffer through it. It sucks. It's annoying. It does absolutely nothing. I lost respect for Left for Suffer for being a part of it. It is awful. Honestly, Sing Queen belongs in the toilet at this point. They are terrible.
Wrong.
Terrible. Awful.
Bimbo
All
Club.
right, let's move on to Frontiers. They have a song called Fracture. It's a new single that sits next to their other single that is called Seul. The other one is a hard-hitting, kind of almost hardcore feeling song. This song brings a huge sound to their metalcore, and this band's like rising. This band is going to the moon, man. They're awesome. Highly recommend checking these guys out. Another band that I love, but never really started the engine, kind of had some sparks, but never really was able to turn over the engine. Ghost Iris. This band just came out with a song that punches you in the face. Absolutely go check out One Way Wasteland. It's pretty incredible. Let's move on to The Ghost Inside Me. Or I'm sorry, not whoa.
That's a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Did not see that Paranormal Activity movie.
No, that one was awful.
Okay, well, anyway, let's move on
Parker,
to
you
Ghost
gotta grow that
Inside.
beard back, man. This is affecting your brain power.
I think all my brains were right here. Yeah, I agree. Oh, all right, Ghost Inside. They teamed up with a band called Lakeview. Lakeview is a country duo, and Ghost Inside is a hardcore metalcore band. And the song is called Kill Me First. Now, let me tell you, if you're teaming up with a country duo and you're a metal band, that's probably the riskiest move you could make as a metal band. It doesn't work. It's weird.
And they failed.
It failed. It's just, it's awful. Just stick to the breakdowns. That's what I have to say to this band. Stick to the breakdowns. If you want to go check it out, feel free, but you're going to be disappointed.
This is the part where I get mad.
We get to talk about the meme band.
I knew it
Our
was
Last Night. Guess what? Guess what Our Last Night just did? They covered the song Unwritten.
By Natasha
Ooh,
Bennington?
that's the Kingdom Collapse.
Yes.
They pulled the
Look.
Kingdom Collapse after Kingdom Collapse. That's
They
crazy.
They did. And honestly, this band has to stop at some point. At this point, there was something extremely special about Punko's Pop. You know, the part of it was that it was so scarce and minimal, and that you got all these different bands that focused really, really, really hard on a couple, you know, maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 songs on an album, and you merged all these bands across hardcore, across hard rock, across metal, across, you know, even heavier than metalcore, and you got this amazing sound that was diverse through all these different bands. And the covers were focused and actually made sense. Our Last Night, every single cover they've come out with has sounded identical to the other ones. And I never thought I would say this, but it sounds like they're starting to butcher these pop songs. And I don't really care about pop that much, but I mean, it really is egregious at this point. I think my take for this is the same as Batman's. You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. And this meme band is definitely the villain.
The best Batman quote is, "With great power comes great responsibility."
That's Spider-Man, you moron.
Spider-Man.
It's the worst podcast we've ever done.
Reed, you say
I
that
love that we
every
say
week.
that every single
You
time.
say
I
that
think we're
every
going to try
week.
and clip that.
Yeah.
I Let It Consume Me, What Lies Below. They just released this new album. I Let It Consume Me. It's a constant, steady energy from this band. High dynamics. They got the lows, they got the soaring vocals, they've got the massive choruses. Let's just keep this band going. I love this band. This band is great.
I'm just so glad you didn't say I let it inside me.
No.
I think that is the first Let's Get Heavy ever that Parker did not go on a rant about boy band.
Not yet.
No, it's coming.
Not yet? No, it's not coming. But, Reed, you love this band. You love The Plot in You.
Yes, I do.
And they just released a album,
Yes, they did.
and it is absolutely insane. And I love
didn't
it.
love it. I didn't love
You
it.
didn't?
No.
Why?
I've listened to it twice. I got bored through it. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
You know,
No, in my defense, both the times that I listened to it, I was driving somewhere, so I was kind of, I guess I was half in, half out. I got to throw it on when I'm back in my office. But yeah, I listened to it twice. I got bored.
I don't know. This band is crazy. They formed in Ohio in 2010, and they came out with Firstborn, which was like smack you in the face as hard as you can be metalcore. And then they came out with Dispose in 2018, and that was like polar opposite, right? Completely kind of laid back alternative rock, post-hardcore, pretty heavy in the electronics, but I still enjoyed it. I still thought it jammed, but it was very, very lo-fi. And I felt like this album merged those two things together for this band, and you have the heavy with the soft, and I felt like it did a really, really good job to merge what they used to do and what their new sound is, and kind of bring it all into the same mix. And I don't know. I liked it a lot. I really did. At first, I thought it was going to be another kind of soft one when they started releasing singles, and then it started to slam. I like it a lot.
I have only listened to about half of it so far, but what I heard was really good. I heard some Deftones influence there. I heard some Seven Dust influence. It's really well produced. I think what I've heard, I think I like it.
Yeah.
Travis, you vouching for it makes me want to go listen to it.
You should, Jason.
Sorry, Parker.
No, you're good. I really think you would enjoy this, actually.
Matt apparently hated it so much he left.
Apparently.
Yeah, Matt's like, I'm out. This is awful.
The other thing that excites me about it is that they're producing a lot of these new songs from like Mazda Flames, which is, you know, a top band for me, and seeing that they're merging this and that Mazda Flames says, yeah, Plot and You is going to help us produce, like that gives me hope that, you know, Mazda Flames wasn't kind of moving into the same direction that Plot and You did with Dispose. Not that they couldn't do it, but because they've done it with Dark Divine, but you know, I like when like Mazda Flames slaps you in the face. It's awesome.
Yeah.
A band that I love. Has anybody listened to Miss May I?
Only because you've played it for me.
Okay. I love Miss May I. They came out with a new single, and it's amazing. It's called Sanctuary, and Miss May I has kind of been on this weird roller coaster where, you know, they in the Warped Tour days they were like superstars. They basically created Warped Tour metalcore, right? That's like a phase now. It was the early 2000s with Killswitch and all those bands, and then Warped Tour came along, and then you have Warped Tour metalcore with all the Rise Records bands, and that's where these guys came in.
So
also from Ohio, from Troy, in the late 2000s, these guys started to, or mid to late 2000s, these guys started to get signed with Rise, and almost all of the members were still in high school when they signed to this record.
That's insane.
Label. Yeah, that's crazy, right? And to this day, they have all the same members still, which is...
That means they're doing something right.
Yeah, right?
We just posted something on our news. Finger 11. I don't know if you know Finger 11. Different, totally different. They're more rock, straight ahead alternative. They came out and they did an interview recently, and they're like, you know what? We are a bunch of friends who played music. We're not a band first. We are friends first. And this is about our lifestyle and what we do. And you know, that's kind of the dream, right? To find guys that you or gals that you resonate with, that you can create with and build. And if you get some success, all the better.
Yeah, for sure.
It's your podcast.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yep. And
Matt, your recording stopped.
Matt, your recording stopped. Okay, well,
we all got pop-ups that said, Matt, your recording stopped. There he goes.
But yeah, I mean,
at this technology thing.
Miss May I was the standard in Warped Tour metalcore, and then they came out with another album called Bleed Together that kind of like brought in 7 strings, deeper, richer textures, and kind of bridged that like modern metal sound. And then now this new one, Sanctuary, kind of brings them back to their original sound, which is really refreshing to hear, because they've kind of been on a roller coaster. They've been through some ballads, they've been through some anthems, and now they're bringing it all back home to what they were known for, which is really cool. I love these guys. I've seen them, I don't know, I've seen them at least, I think more than I can count on one hand.
So over 5 times.
Yeah, that's all I have though for Let's Get Heavy. It's unfortunate Matt's gone, because the other things we were going to talk about was Matt.
Matt is giving up on his computer, so it's now just a full.
Okay.
Let's get into our openers.
Next up, the openers.
Let's talk about Linkin Park. And is Emily really bringing value to Linkin Park, or should they have just started another band?
Yeah. You know, I posted something in response to a social media post that I came across on the Rock Fan Radio page. The post was from New Metal for Life, and it says, Emily Armstrong threatens to quit Linkin Park after backlash for replacing Chester Bennington. And I was
that at all, by the way, that she would like, oh, people don't like me, I'm going to quit. She knew what she was getting into.
Yeah, I can agree with you, but I think sometimes in retrospect, it hits you like a brick on the other side sometimes, right?
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
I was scrolling through the comments, and I found a hilarious comment. This guy says, "Why do we care? Linkin Park is for kids." Honestly, that was hilarious. That made me laugh. But I then decided that I might engage a little bit here, because I do have a take here, and my take is they tried to replace an already dying band before Chester passed away with a completely different sound and direction, and now they did it again after Chester passed. It didn't work before he passed. What made you think it was going to work for more than a quick fizzle gimmick to now completely attempting to replace Chester? Quit and save the legacy that Chester and the band built throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. That's my take on the whole thing.
I don't agree with it. I like the fact that they're going for chapter 2. Maybe even chapter 3 at this point. You got to do it. They got to play the cards that were dealt to them. And I think the cards they were given were not great, and they have done pretty well with them. Dead Sarah is a great band, and pulling Emily was a unique and different move nobody saw coming, and I'm digging it.
So yeah, I do a lot of YouTube scrolling. I get a lot of recommended videos based on my watch history and whatnot, and I came
Have you
across
subscribed to Rock Fan Radio?
Who? Who's?
Oh,
That's okay. Reed was downvoting me on Reddit today, so
Yes, I
fuck you,
was.
man.
Yes, I was.
Of course I am. Of course I am. And so, yeah, I came across this. I don't know if it's a side project, if it's a new project. I don't really know. It was started by a guy named Joshua Landry, who is known as Low Spirit from New Orleans, and another guy, Echo. He's a Las Vegas-based hip-hop rock artist. They got together.
Who Echo is. I've seen him on lineups before.
Yeah, they formed a group called Ninth Key, and the song that I heard first was called Happy Feels Like. It just came out like a couple of weeks ago, and it sounds exactly like classic Linkin Park. And, I get it. It's like you might hear it and you're like, well, they're just copying what Linkin Park did. Hey, you know what? If you're going to copy something, do it great. Old Linkin Park is fucking amazing. And Brad Nelson's guitar tone is almost like identical. It's like they nailed it. I really, really like it. It's a cool song. I checked out their other track, and I don't really know what their plans are. I don't know if this is just a couple of guys that befriended each other and just like, hey, let's record some songs, or if it's going to turn into a more long-term thing. But what I've heard is great, and I'm anxious to hear more.
I dig it too. I heard it on Octane, and I went, ooh, it's a Linkin Park ripoff. And I actually think I told my wife, came home talking music, and I was like, I heard this band that sounds just like Linkin Park today. They're awesome. And then you come around, you're like, I found the new Linkin Park. It's cool. I hope they kick ass. I hope that they go far.
There is a gap to be filled right now because people that were OG Linkin Park fans are actually desperate for that sound again. There was a post today that I came across saying something about, I can't remember her name.
I saw you picking fights with Linkin Park fans.
I may have posted something on there. Emily Armstrong. She maybe was doing some rounds or an interview or something, and maybe mentioned through the grapevine that she might be thinking about calling it quits with Linkin Park, because she's getting a lot of heat, and Linkin Park in general is getting a lot of negative feedback for switching to Emily Armstrong. Now, who knows how serious that is? Who knows if they're stirring the pot? At the same time, there is a lot of need for these OG fans, and maybe this is the gap that fills that for the original fans of Linkin Park. I mean, Linkin Park blew the hell up in the early 2000s, right, with Hybrid Theory, which I guess was their former name before they were forced to change it. But then, they fell off and never really climbed back to where they were.
What? I think I don't agree with that at all.
2017, when they moved to pop, they had a falling out. 100%, they had a falling out, and they've never been able.
It was 3 albums later. It was 4 albums later. Meteora, their second album, was gigantic.
I'm not saying right after Hybrid Theory. I'm saying once they made the sound switch to say let's go more mainstream. Let's focus on a more mainstream sound. That's when they started to decline. Absolutely.
I disagree completely with you, Parker. I don't agree at all, because I
Look it
think
up.
they got more. I'm just from my experience. They got more eclectic. They started experimenting more in more sounds. They had that whole album that was more of a concept and noise based.
1,000 Suns.
I can't come. Not what's that? Yeah, 10,000 Suns. And honestly, I think 10,000 Suns is absolutely amazing.
Just 1,000 Suns.
1,000.
But imagine if there were 10,000 of those Suns, how good it would be. 1,000 Suns was amazing. That's that song where they dropped the single, and I'm like, this is garbage. And then I listened to the whole album, and I did the Jason thing, and it clicked, and I went, oh, this is really good.
Did you know this sounds very familiar to an argument we've been having about Bring Me the Horizon, as Bring Me the Horizon evolved their sound and it kind of disoriented the original Bring Me the Horizon fans? I think Linkin Park was on that same journey. I will say, I think Emily gets too much trash, but at the same point, I said this when they said that they were bringing her on to lead sing. She's a phenomenal vocalist, right? But I feel like they should have just gone under a different name. They should have let Linkin Park die, and then they could have covered Linkin Park songs and made new albums with Emily as their lead singer. And I think that would have probably helped as a whole.
I agree. When I saw them, yeah, right, exactly. When I saw
There's
them
money to be
at
made under that Linkin Park name.
when I saw them at Sonic Temple last year, there a lot of people liked it and a lot of people didn't like it. And I fell somewhere in the middle where it was like, I'm watching Emily on stage try her hardest to do a Chester impression as a female vocalist. And, you know, she has chops. I mean, she definitely has vocal chops, but it felt weird because they were straddling this, let's move on with Emily, but let's also try and do the Chester thing. And it felt like it was forced on both sides, because they were doing both of those things on stage. Real quick, I just want to prove my point here. When Hybrid Theory and Meteora came out...
he's going to fact check me. Okay.
I am.
All right.
They moved on to 2007's Minutes to Midnight, and at first, it did very well with 623,000 first week sales. But 1,000 Suns in 2010 debuted at number 1. It did debut at number 1, but the sales fell short to 241,000, less than half of Minutes to Midnight.
What is that? Wasn't the argument you were making is they kept slipping into trying to be radio friendly, and 1,000 Suns was not?
No, my argument is that they went radio friendly, and at first the sound was large, but they lost so many fans from doing that, and they were always chasing that success. And then, you know, the whole Chester thing, right? That whole thing sucks. And then they bring in Emily, and they try to do the same thing again, and they expected that they could just try and change their sound and develop around Linkin Park's name and have this meteoric rise again. It's not working with original fans, and my point is maybe this new band fills the gaps for those new or original fans.
Give it to you. I like the new Linkin Park. I think Emily's awesome. I think they had to go in a different direction instead of bringing in a clone, because whoever that clone was going to be would have gotten destroyed.
I think you shut it down and you move on from Linkin Park. I know there's a lot of money to be made, but like, I mean, I agree with Dave when he said,
but like Parker, you're a metalcore guy, right? And the metalcore scene does this all the time. They are constantly moving members around, replacing lead singers, totally revamping their sound. And do you feel that way about metalcore, or is this just because you don't like Emily and Linkin Park?
No, I feel that way about metalcore bands that have done that as well. Most specifically, am I going to be able to pull the name out on 2 Hours of Sleep? I'm not sure if I will be able to, but
Beardo has lost his powers.
Hold on. Heart of a Coward. I did it. Heart of a Coward. They had they had their main vocalist, and he left the band. And instead of saying, okay, well, let's move on and see what we can't do with a new vocalist, they instead went after and said, let's go find a guy who sounds exactly like this guy. Well, the guy doesn't sound exactly like him. Does he sound similar? He absolutely does. But at some point, you have to say, okay, are we going to be able to continue to produce what we were doing, or do we try and revamp and go a different direction? For me personally, you look at Amity Affliction, they had the same thing. They had to get rid of Aaron, and instead of saying, let's replace Aaron, they bring in Kingdom of Giants, and that guy is completely different. They have a whole new sound. They're far more modern metalcore now. They don't really sound like they did in their past, and now they're going on another rise. And this was something that Amity was looking for the longest time with Aaron, right? Because it was getting stale. And now they've switched over, and they're like, okay, well, let's start over. Let's try something new. And they're not trying to be the same Amity. They're saying this is a new era for us. And there's tons of bands that do that in metalcore and in metal and in rock. And in my opinion, when I see bands doing the let's reset and see what we can do with this new lineup, it is much more successful, and it plays way better to the original fans than it does to try and copy and paste.
Parker, we can argue about this all night.
We could. We absolutely could.
This is my Stone Temple Pilots argument, right? Because they brought in Chester Bennington to be the lead after Scott Weiland died, and that didn't go anywhere. So it's like, and then they obviously bring in Jeff Goot, who is clearly has studied Scott Weiland's mannerisms.
Actually, they brought in Chester Bennington.
I just said that. I just rewind.
He just said that.
I literally said that.
You see, now you've realized that I tune out most of what you say, just waiting for my turn to talk.
No. Ooh, I get to talk next. That's I
mean, let's face it.
No. Jason
Most
just
bands,
said himself.
Most bands can't recover from the loss of their lead singer. I mean, AC/DC did just
not of-
fine.
Not of that caliber, right?
Not of that
Yeah.
caliber. I mean,
Right.
yeah, AC/DC obviously clearly did it, and that worked out very well. Alice in Chains, they've never been able to repeat the success, but, I mean, they're still making great records. Duvall's been great, but, I mean...
Duvall rules.
But, in Linkin Park's defense, regardless, a lot of people have argued that the Thousand Suns record and the backlash that they got when that was released contributed to Chester's declining mental health. There was a lot of discussion that maybe his death was directly tied to the fact that he kind of felt like the fans just kind of attacked him. I mean, I don't like that album. I didn't, I was like, okay, they tried something different. I didn't think it worked. However, I'm looking right now. They have 55.7 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Yes.
And 5 songs in the Billions Club. They're doing just fine.
They're doing
Just a little bit, yeah. This isn't Fort Minor.
It's exactly.
Another band that just did this, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but the band Fuel from the 90s. Actually, they were a big deal in the 90s. They had Shimmer, they had Bad Day, they had a variety of big singles. They released their lead singer, and it fell flat on its face. And they've been trying to figure out a way to make this work for 20 years. And they just launched a brand new single called something I don't know, but they just launched a new single and with a new singer, and I actually think it works better than the...
This should be a topic that we rehash at a later episode. I think let's mark this down because I think there's a lot here.
Yeah.
And now, the headliner.
Most memorable concert or festival of 2025.
My favorite show last year, without a doubt, no question asked, and no one's going to be surprised by this, is the Grandson show we went to. At the Riviera, Grandson got dropped from his label, and he had all these banger, badass, groovy, hip tunes that they were half like electronic, almost, I don't want to say hip hop, but dancey alternative. And then he put badass riffs on top of it. And I fell in love with this band. He released his second album, which was heavily influenced by the label, and it didn't sound like Grandson at all. It was very rappy. It didn't have that same feel. It just felt like it was forced. He got dropped by his label after that one. He came back with his new album, which absolutely fucking shreds. My favorite album of last year. And he did a show at the Riv, and he comes out, he says, you know what? I used to lean into the electronics more. I used to have a guy hitting the triggers and the backing tracks. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to bring all that way down and lean into the rock, lean into a heavy drummer, a heavy guitar player, and make it almost a punk band. And he blew the doors off the place. It was so good. It was almost like he had something to say to his record label who dropped him. And he remains one of my favorite live artists. And the show before that last tour I saw, I was really underwhelmed. You can hear all about it in season 1. But this last Grandson show was crazy, out of control good.
Wait.
You're looking at the House of Blues show where we sat upstairs in the balcony.
Yeah, K-Flay opened.
With K-Flay. And I think K-Flay blew him out of the water that day.
That's why you're so upset about Grandson. That particular show is because K-Flay was that good.
K-Flay was that good.
Grandson was still really fucking good, but K-Flay...
It was the worst Grandson show I've seen.
That's fair.
So first of all, kudos to Grandson, even with the electronics, to have a guy in the background pulling triggers, because that's still pretty dope that you're still at least kind of using like a pad and pressing the buttons, right? There's a lot of bands that just kind of press play on a laptop and let it go and play over stuff.
Yep. I mean, I think there's some of that going on, but it's it's not Ronnie Radke shit where if the laptop goes down, they're not going to play the song.
Right. But I will say, at least if your drummer or someone is doing triggers, that's, I don't know. It feels a little better in my mind, but whatever, it's not, I'm going to say it, but we haven't talked about it yet. It's not Raw turning around, pressing play on a laptop, and taking 5 seconds to get set and then playing a show.
I thought you said raw, like it's not raw and intense. You're
No.
talking about Ra,
No,
the
Ra.
Egyptian god,
Ra. Sorry,
and that
Ra.
band with Sahaj at the friggin' front just pushing buttons on his laptop.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Honestly-
My favorite show last year was Grandson, without a doubt. I can't wait till he comes back, and and he's going back into the studio in the next couple weeks. And I
Jason.
hope he just throws down because he's pissed off at the world, and I am too. And so I relate a lot with that.
Didn't we also see, was that the same show? Not the same show, but did we also see Grandson at Bottom Lounge with Nova Twins opening?
Yes, we did.
The Gimmick Band?
Oh, God damn it.
I love pissing Reed off. It's fun. I
Nova
got you
Twins
back
opened
for the beer.
Grandson. And so did the Rat Band. She calls her fans rats. Royal and the Serpent. Royal and the Serpent opened.
She
They
was-
were really cool too.
Interesting.
She was awesome. Yeah.
She was awesome. Yeah.
What I was gonna say is I saw Grandson at Sonic Temple, and sometimes those kind of bands that jump onto those 4-day festivals.
Festivals don't do it justice.
It's like I get to play an extra show because I'm in the area or whatever. Or it's a break for them on their tour, so they're like, yeah, we'll play the show. And it felt that way when I saw him. So I kind of want to see him isolated and give him another shot, because I did when you played the album where he kind of toned it back and he was jamming on the instruments. It was pretty cool. So I want to give him a shot.
He
on
had
his
an
own show.
early slot at Lollapalooza a couple years back. And
Sure.
when he came out on stage, there was, I don't know, 25 people at that stage. By the time that he was done with his short ass set, it was pretty J-mode.
Sure.
And now I'm just realizing I've seen Grandson a couple of times.
Grandson, that Lollapalooza set where he's got the off yellow pants on is on YouTube, and I watch that show all the time. It is so good.
No, I'm talking about the one where he was wearing flannel pants.
Okay, well, I've never seen the flannel pants show.
So Parker had a rule that we weren't allowed to have reviewed it on the show. Now I have mentioned it, but we didn't review it. Of course, I wasn't even on the podcast when this happened. But by far, my favorite show of 2025 was the Morning View 25th anniversary with Incubus. It was at I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, the Chaifetz Arena, or something like that. It was in St. Louis. It was July 4th week, so it was a little over a year ago. Phenomenal. They played the entire album in its in order of the original release. And they threw in, Megalomaniac and Talk Shows on Mute, and they did some other stuff, and it was great. I've seen those guys several times, actually more than that show. Actually, they then became the band that I have seen more than any other band in my history of going to shows. So I try to catch those guys every time they come there. They don't really come to Indiana very often. I couldn't even tell you the last time that I saw them here, but that was great. I was very, very excited. Now, the weird thing about that, do you guys want to take a guess of who the opener was? She is the daughter of a extremely famous person. It was literally just her on a bar stool and a guitar.
Liv Tyler.
Paris Jackson was the opener.
Oh, I hate that.
Actually, some of her songs are pretty good. They're very sad. She writes a lot of really, really depressing shit, but I actually like some of them, and she's got a good voice. And Mike Einziger of Incubus actually came out and played a song with her, and she literally just came out and she's like, "Hi, I'm Paris." I'm like, "We know who you are." So,
can I ask a stupid question? I don't know who she is. Paris Jackson?
Yes. So take the last name. Is it?
Do
you know of any musicians with the last name Jackson?
Samuel Jackson's daughter.
Try again.
Michael Jackson?
No shit, Sherlock.
Correct.
Wait, really?
Jason.
Ding, 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 ding.
No shit.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I thought his kids' names were like Blanket and Face.
One of them is Blanket.
Yeah. She's
That's
not the
only
only
one of them.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, that was very unexpected. But yeah, that was a phenomenal. Brandon Boyd is one of my favorite singers. He always brings it, and actually this was the first opportunity that I had to see their new bass player. So this is the third bassist now that they've had.
It's a woman, I think.
Yeah, she was great. Yeah, really good. Band was awesome, and that's one of my all-time favorite albums also. It is probably my favorite breakup album of any album ever written. It is, for those who don't know the story, Brandon had met a girl. Actually, if you go watch the Stellar video, the girl in that video was his girlfriend at the time. They were in a very serious relationship. I think they lived together in Europe or something. They went through a nasty breakup, and Morning View is the reaction to that. And, you know, if you listen to that album, he's sad, he's pissed off, he finds acceptance at the end. I mean, it's literally the, you know, the denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. I mean, you get the whole ride. And it's a masterpiece. One of the best albums of that era, without a doubt.
Unlike Science, where it's about being abducted by aliens.
That album is top 5 for me still.
Science is also fucking amazing.
Top 5 ever, Reed? Wow. It's a great album. It's good, but I don't know if
good.
it's top 5. You know what? That's the first CD I ever got that was burned back in college in probably like 2000. Adnan burned me that album. Because
I still,
we can steal CDs.
Still to this day, probably once every couple of weeks, I'll say, I know exactly where we are. Where the fuck are we?
So this will be an interesting segue because I had the opportunity to see Incubus at Sonic Temple in 2025, but they dropped out due to illness. And Incubus happens to be my friend's favorite band, and so we were bummed out. But the segue is Sonic Temple 2025 is my festival of the year last year. I'm just going to name a few bands here. I don't know if I'll be able to get through them all, but you tell me if this is a Parker festival. We got Memphis Mayfire, Fit for a King, As I Lay Dying, All That Remains, Fit for an Autopsy, Left to Suffer, Pre-Scene Queen, Left to Suffer. We got Whitechapel, All Shall Perish, The Black Dahlia Murder, After the Burial, The Acacia Strain, Upon a Burning Body, Angel Maker. I mean, we could just keep going. Arrow was there too. Silverstein, The Devil Wear Prada,
I like Silverstein.
Invent Animate, Silent Planet. I mean, this festival was loaded with heavy hitters for what I love. And man, like from morning to evening, there was not a dull moment. And I even went to go see Hoobastank. I even went to go see Hoobastank at this festival.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible lineup. I hadn't been to a 4-day festival like this in a long time, and I forgot how amazing and fun and incredible it is to just forget about life for 4 days and just dive into music and be part of the sweat and blood and circle pits and all of that. Well, maybe not blood, but I mean, you know what I mean. I don't mean legitimately. I mean like you're in there,
and semen and feces.
What are all those stains? Blood, urine, or semen? Oh God, I hope it's urine.
Blood, shit.
You're in there with the
hands.
crowd, and you're all there for a common reason, and that's to let loose and watch these bands just absolutely slay on stage. And it was incredible. At this show, I learned about a band called Silly Goose. I've told Jason about this band.
I saw him on the radio the other day, and there was a guy at a show I was at recently who had a Silly Goose t-shirt.
Yeah.
I was like, that band rules, because Parker tells me they rule.
I was at that Wage War show. The Wage War show that I had just seen, about a month and a half ago. There was a dude wearing a Silly Goose shirt, and I went up to him like, dude, this is amazing. I just discovered this band, and he happened to discover them at the same show. He was at the same festival
That's awesome.
And he fell in love. And honestly, this band is not normally a type of band that I would like. They are my Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit.
They sound like Limp Bizkit. They are a very Limp Bizkit type band.
They do.
Yeah.
And I don't like Limp Bizkit. And I don't like them for the same reasons that I like this band. And it's very weird. And now I understand why people like Limp Bizkit so much, because you went to this festival and you're like, who is this band? And they just sounded so crazy and different and so energetic. Is the same thing with Silly Goose. These guys just came on stage and slayed, and they really are my generation and younger. That is our Limp Bizkit for sure. And it's crazy. It's fun. They're a fun band.
Parker, you need to go listen to $3 Bill, y'all, and listen to OG Limp Bizkit, and I honestly think you'd like it a lot.
Fair enough. I will do that.
It's way more raw, and it's way more
Sure.
metal, if you dare I say that.
Sure.
OG
Okay.
Limp Bizkit is fucking awesome.
Yes.
I love $3 Bill, y'all. I still listen to the shit out of that album.
Okay. I will.
I
do that.
listen to Chocolate Starfish more than I'd like to admit. Don't tell anybody.
Wes
I will do
Borland's
that.
guitar work, honestly, on $3 Bill, y'all, is legendary. His two-handed tapping that he does on a track called Sour is the stuff of legends. He's such an underrated guitar player.
Yep.
Just want to shout out honorable mentions here for who else was at this show, because it gets crazier too. And you'd think, oh, How much crazier can it get? Well, you had Gwar at the show too. Gwar was at this festival.
Staple.
And Cannibal Corpse. I forgot Cannibal Corpse was there.
Reed, this is the worst podcast ever.
This is the worst podcast we've ever done.
Reed,
Okay,
tell
I'll
us
stop.
about your
I'll stop.
show. Please, let's cut this off.
Reed has to tell his.
What's your best show from last year that we haven't talked about?
All right, so I was actually going to go with Riot Fest because Offspring played Smash top to bottom, and that was like I was in high school heaven, but older without the high school angst. But I wanted to spend some time because there's a live band from Canada, and with the fires, just ties it all together. That I think is
Mel them down here.
It is not
End it.
It does not end it.
Is it Nickelback? Is it Danko Jones? Is it
no,
Alanis
no.
Morissette?
Is it Justin Bieber?
No,
Is
no.
it Finger 11? Is it Our Lady Peace?
No.
You're never going to fucking find out if you don't shut up.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
All right, so I've seen this band a bunch of times. Canadian alt rock band, the Bluestones. So I saw the Bluestones at the Riv last year, and I've seen the Bluestones at the Chop House, and I saw Bluestones at the Subterranean. This is a duo band, just a drummer and a guitarist. And honestly, I don't know why this band has not gotten more traction in the industry. They are amazing live, first off. The last couple albums that they've released have been off the charts. So I was going to go with Riot Fest because, you know, it's an amazing festival, but I just also wanted, like, you guys, if the Bluestones are coming to your city, spend the $10 and go check these guys out. They're just fucking awesome.
They are awesome. You dragged me to a Bluestone show, and it was really good. It's fun. And when I'm looking for something a little bit not as heavy but still groovy, I put the Bluestones on. It's a great band to put on at the pool while you got friends over because it's going to be neutral and everyone's going to like it, and it's still awesome.
And it was funny, too, because to tie back in with, like, the, not the backing tracks, but, like, having the drummer kind of control some of the background noise. He, like, if you watch the drummer of the Bluestones during some of their kind of more, like, floaty type of songs, he's doing all this stuff with stick work. So it's all done off of, like, an electronic keypad thing where he's, you know, still striking something to make all this extra noise. But for two dudes, I mean, they produce so much sound, so much more than Local H. Right?
You know, I'm not gonna even respond to that because whatever. The Bluestones are coming to town actually in November. We should go up to the rave because you know who they're opening for, and this is pretty cool. They're opening for the Rival Sons, and the Rival Sons are awesome. And they fit the Bluestones vibe totally. Rival Sons are a little more southern rock guitar driven, and the Bluestones are like the bridge between that and modern rock, and it's gonna fit perfectly. And we should go to that show.
I love this. I'm in.
I have never heard of the Bluestones, but after Reed's comments, I need to check them out.
Yes,
you should. They're good.
Phenomenal band. They really, I wish they would get more traction. They deserve it.
Well, there you go. This was supposed to be a metal takeover show hosted by yours
actually,
truly.
this was like the least metal show ever because
it didn't work out that way. But in 2 weeks, Jason might not be here. So then that's when I will be taking the reins and turning the show into the Devil Show. And we're going to get real heavy and go straight down to hell.
And it'll be the least watched podcast ever.
I think it'll be the most watched podcast. My beard will be back, kind of.
On that note, the question will be, will we get 1,000 subscribers in the hunt first, or will Parker get his beard back first? That's the race, and the race is on. So if you have not yet, go to our YouTube channel, which is @RockFanRadio. Sign up, ring that damn bell so you know when we got new episodes coming out. Spread the word, help us get the word out. We honestly think this is going to be something great. We're having a lot of fun, and we want to bring you in with the fun because live music is the shit, and let's just be a community and talk about it. Until then, we will see you in the pits, and thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other.
Thanks for tuning in to Rock Fan Radio. Check out rockfanradio.com for more episodes and exclusives. And stay locked in for updates and everything rock. If you enjoyed this episode, drop us a 5-star review on your podcast platform. Like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. Until next time, check out our playlist of related tunes. And we'll see you in the pit.